Welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate, where we will help empower and educate you on many different aspects of real estate, finance, and investing. Each week, we will expand your knowledge and uncover hidden truths. We will break down real-world scenarios and study actual how-to strategies. Anyone can buy real estate, but together we'll ensure you make smart real estate investment decisions. Now, here's your host, award-winning author, international speaker, and real estate educator, Lisa Gillett.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. It's been a wild few days for me, but I have missed you. I am here. We're in forward motion. Thank you for those of you offline who've been sending some love and support, who've known that it's been some interesting days, some challenging days, but we're working through it. We've worked through it. I have to just put it in place and say it is done. It's done. It's taken care of. So thank you for those of you who love on me and support my family in all things. So thank you for that. All right, for those of you who are new to the show, welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate. We've got a very interesting topic today. I will say it could be a sensitive topic depending where you are on this. So depending where you are. Before I do that, let me just do sound check because it's been a while since I've been in the office. I've been working remotely. It's definitely been a ride. And let me just take my sounds out. Okay, good. Okay. Sound is good. I almost dust my mic off because I'm looking here and I'm like, what is this? Get this off of me. Get it off of me. All right. So let me go here. Boom. All right. Topic for today is called the Rise of Vanlords. Let me edit that and just go boom. The Rise of Vanlords. Any of you just thought of maybe doing RV living? Some of you have decided, you may just retire one day and just go live in an RV and travel the world. Well, RV living is becoming almost the only option for some of our unhoused residents. And so today we'll be talking about the rise of vanlords. No, you heard me right. I didn't say landlords. I said vanlords. If this is a new term for you, please drop a 1 in the chat below. Let me know if you're hearing this term for the first time, vanlords. I know I've heard it for the first time a couple weeks ago. And as I was thinking about various topics, because there's a lot going on in the industry right now, I had to, I'm choosing. I'm like, what do I want to talk about today with you all? Because there's a lot of juicy stuff happening. So for the price of today's show, educational show, we do ask that you engage, or at least let us know you're here. Press 1. Let us know you're here. Press 1 down below. Drop that in the chat below. 2 lets me know you've shared it. Sharing is caring. And before I get into today's segment on vanlords, the rise of vanlords, I want to, of course, discuss quarterly goals. Those of you know, I do coaching and training and so forth. So just as I keep myself accountable, I want to keep you accountable. If you've been working on your credit, I know I've been working on my credit. Listen, y'all, my credit score has improved. I just learned. Woohoo! I guess when you need credit, right, you go, all right, I got to pay attention to credit. So my score's improved because for those of you who are new to me again, know that a lot of my anecdotes or my testimonies come from real world life experiences. Been there, done that. I've taken my L's, right? Taken my losses in both, love, money, hardship, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. I've taken those L's. And I think it's funny, I was sharing this with my family and friends. I say, all those life experiences would happen in vain if there is not a lesson or one nugget that you pull from that or that you learn from that. And I am so happy and grateful and blessed that I can think that way. It's hard to think that way. It's hard. Yes, it is hard to think that way and wrap your mind around the fact that 90% is how you're responding to the 10% of what is happening to you. It is difficult. Yes. What do you mean, Lisa? This is everything, right? No, it's not. It's not everything. It's 90-10, 90-10. So hold it in perspective. All right. So as we're talking about quarterly goals, especially as we're talking about the rise of Vanlords, right? So depending on what perspective you are on this, we will have. I'd like for us to lead with lead with compassion, of course, because we will be talking about the unhoused population, the homeless population. When I had done this topic before, I also said that the face of those who are homeless has changed. It's not what we thought used to see. It's not that. And that's what we're going to cover today, is because it's a rude awakening of the people that are unhoused. In fact, I was reading the statistics and data based on the inflationary prices that are happening right now. The data says that people earning 150,000 per year, by a show of hands, right? Earning 150,000 per year are living paycheck to paycheck. The data also shows, right? They've done surveys and they're just kind of following the demographics, following this shift post pandemic, is that we are now upwards of what, 1 point. Let me Google it real quick. I want to give you, how much, so the question I'm Googling is, how much has credit card debt increased? $175 billion since the fourth quarter of 2021. You hear me? Earning 150,000 per year, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Fourth quarter 2021 credit card usage, right? Credit card debt has increased by $175 billion. That is billion, you heard me, billion. I'm glad I checked that, because there was something else I was reading that had me thinking trillion. It's probably the debt of the United States, but credit card of Americans, billions of dollars. So this topic is essentially the conversation we have in housing when we do our consultations with clients about, making sure you are staying under that DTI, debt to income ratio. And this is not me just referring to those who are buying homes, because there are life events, i.e. a pandemic, that would trigger one to be unhoused, right? In relation to this point I'm making about the debt to income ratio and staying under that, right? Staying under the 43%, staying under the 44% of what you make. What all that means is factoring in your housing expense so that you are not a paycheck away from being homeless or unhoused. That's what that is referring to. So that's where we're going today. I trust you'll stick around for the ride. We'll go in probably about 20-25 minutes, depending on your feedback, commentary. For those of you who are connecting with us from the Nextdoor app, hi, hello. I look forward to meeting you live in person at some point. But if you have a need and you want to give me a call or a buzz, there's my number right here. So you can text or call 323-488-3265. This is a live show, so shout out to those of you who are tuning on all our social media platforms. We do also offer the replay on radio podcasts everywhere. I think last 2 weeks ago, so I haven't been on for 2 weeks. That's just kind of showing you, life is happening offline, right? Life happens offline. And And so that 2 week period prior to that, I was episode 21, I think it was 221. Can you imagine that? Over 200 episodes. We're over 200 episodes in on Ready Set Real Estate. Those of you know, we kicked this whole idea off with shift your thinking, right? Shift your thinking. And this is what I mean about being empathetic and identifying that what people are experiencing right now is not too far from being a potential reality to you or someone near or dear or close to you. All right. So I certainly know I've got people that are unhoused and that are family members, and it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So with that being said, let's get ready to jump into today's show. I'm going to do a classroom style, so I've got a PowerPoint for you I'll bring up here. But again, I wanted to talk about quarterly goals. As we talk about the debt, we talk about what's going on. Stick with those goals. The best thing I can implore and encourage with you is write things down. Write things down and focus on that list, right? Knock it out. That's essentially what got me through just kind of this whirlwind of things, of a sequence of events, personal events that have come up. Was I literally had to get to the journal, right? And write stuff down, like boom, make my notes, this is what I got to do. This is who I've called. This is what I called. I kept receipts in here, copies, and just staying on task and on track. What that did for me was, notice that not everything's going to be taken care of, right? So I'm now behind in school assignments. I'm really behind, but it's okay because I need to take care of things. And that's why calendaring is so important, is because I had the perspective of the goals that I already set forth, but now life is happening, right? So I have goals up here, but life is happening here. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on the prize, but I got to deal with this. So I implore you, I'm loving on you, encouraging you, just write that stuff down. Get it out of the mental, right? Get it out of the spiritual, bring it out into the material, into the physical realm, so that you can confront it, so that you can deal with it. Okay. Someone needed to hear this today. All right. So that was my write down here goals, real estate goals for 2023, saving, down payment, making the addition, building the ADU, finding a contractor, consulting with a real estate broker, real estate attorney, accountant, whatever your plans, getting your advisors, your team together, looking at your loan situation, looking at the debt that you own. Is it best, do I get out from under it? Do I sell now? Do I then go rent? Wait till the market is better? Do I sit this one out? Wait till I get a better job? Write that stuff down. You know what's going on with you. I don't know your life. All right. With that being said, we'll be right back after a sponsor break, and Vanlords will be right back. Okay.
Do you have properties that need to be maintained? For professional services that guarantee your property will stay safe and secure, Omnis Property is the team you want by your side. As a company, we pride ourselves on our best-in-class professionals, equipped with the latest technology for all your end-to-end property preservation needs. That means that from start to finish, our expert team can handle everything from accurate assessments to preservation projects of all sizes. Save money and time by working with leading experts that understand your needs and are committed to premier service. Get started today by contacting us for your project estimate. Visit www.omnispreservation.com or call 310-957-9132.
All right. Shout out to Omnis Property Solutions doing their thing. It's always great to have a company that can come out and make you look like a rock star. Clean outs, moving, relocation, maintenance, property prep, especially if you're on the listing side, right? Preparing that property is key and paramount to that first look period, that first look window when people are looking or interested in purchasing that property or doing that initial walkthrough. So all very important. All right, here we go, classmates. Let's see here. Rise of Vanlords. We're, like I said, we're on episode 222. So, of course, by show of hands, how many are hearing this term for the first time? Vanlords. What? What do you mean? So here's what we'll talk about today. Just keep us focused. Remember, write it down. Is what is a vanlord? The areas or communities impact that are being affected by this. What is government doing? I forgot the N in government. Government. What is government doing? And some solutions. I'm going to throw some solutions out there. I'd love to hear back from you. See what we can do. Right? Do we put a stop to it, or do we work with it? It's here already. Right? So think that through as we move through this discussion on vanlords. Right? So a vanlord is someone who rents or leases out RVs to unhoused individuals as an alternate means of housing. They are collecting rent from the tenant. They've got now a tenant who is living in the RV. And it's essentially an Airbnb concept for RVs being recreational vehicles, RV meaning the recreational vehicle. So let's pause here. Let's talk about this RV living, right? I'm just making a quick edit to the slide real quick. Let you chew on that real quick. Okay, I'll bring it back up. So let's pause there in terms of RV living and what we what we were thinking initially about this concept of RV living. Last time we were talking about, or last time I recall RV living or RV lifestyle was, the young lady and the guy, her boyfriend, who murdered her, and they packed up in an RV and they, went out on this adventure. That was my last thought in terms of RV. But if you live, work, play in LA, and LA, when I say LA, I don't mean just LA, city LA. I'm talking about LA Basin. LA Basin. Los Angeles is huge with both incorporated cities and unincorporated cities. So when we talk about Los Angeles, it's like when we, think Texas, right? We think Dallas or Houston, these huge areas, and just density. And the reality is that the housing crisis here, last I checked, last our discussion referenced that California was leading the nation in homelessness. I mean, it was pretty bad that it was a point of conversation during the Trump administration about sending out the military. I remember, was it military? It was just wanting to send out, because he's saying, Governor Newsom, you better get, Cali under control, get your state under control. This homelessness thing is getting out of control. And if you have been a visitor here, if you live here, and if you grew up here like myself, right? LA super agent, because I'm born and raised in LA. I'm first generation here to this country. But I remember even living far back on the east side, right? East side of LA, growing up on the east side of LA. I mean, way back in Commerce, way back off of Avalon. I'm putting my business out there so you know what streets I came from. Living way back there, right? And when I think east, we're talking about east 110 freeway, right? East of 110 freeway. Not necessarily a good or bad thing, right? Because that's various areas. You've got beautiful Compton in that area as well. I mean, you've got all the other cities, Alhambra, Montebello. There's just so many over there. Downey. Oh man, like you got Pico Rivera, just all these great, beautiful cities. What I'm referring to is growing up, we knew of homelessness, right? We knew of homelessness. There was an image of what homelessness looked like growing up. You built this image based on what you saw. And I go back to the image on the first slide of this presentation is, we saw someone on the street. They've got they're building things out of boxes and trash containers and different things that comes with that. The shopping carts, right? I'm not the only one here. You've seen it. You've seen it. You know what I'm referring to. But fast forward to the pandemic, and now we're seeing this explosiveness of encampments. And my husband and I have talked about this as we drive. You've talked about it as you're driving, as you're commuting in the streets, riding bike, doing public transportation. A friend of mine is like, oh, kind of she led into me about public transportation right now. Right. So and that's what we're referring to. In fact, I even it's interesting. There's just so much going on in terms of public transportation is what I'm hearing is causing, right, different areas. Like, so let's give Inglewood an example. Inglewood to be an example of an area that um, is seeing this impact of transplants. I don't know if that's the proper word here for homelessness, right? Coming from different areas because now public transportation is connecting to cities and areas that it was not connected to before. And now we're seeing this increase of encampments. We're seeing this increase of those who we've got a group. So we're going to talk about two separate groups here because again, I want to lead with empathy here and identify the two groups. So we've got two groups where we're dealing with the homelessness or the unhoused for those who are dealing with the mental disorders, drug addictions, drug abuse, substance abuse, right? We're starting to see that show up in areas that were not there. Yeah? Are you seeing it? Are you noticing this? Are you seeing this change ever since, the train came by? Ever since, they've added a new line in your backyard or your community? LA still adding another line. There's going to be the one coming down Slauson. They want to add the line going to Vermont, right? So are you seeing this? Come on. You're listening. You're hearing me, but I need to know I'm not the only one, right? We're noticing the effects of what industrial revolution did back then is once they put the locomotive on, guess what? We had urbanization. We went from rural areas to urbanization, urbanized areas. That's on top of mine because I was helping Poppy. Shout out to Lathan, who's doing a great job on staying on top of his assignments. 7th grade, right? We're still kicking off 7th grade. He, by the way, is an ambassador at his school. He said, Mom, I'm leading my first tour tomorrow, which is today. So he's leading his first tour today. Talk about how wonderful his school is and what programs and activities they have. So proud of him, because it's a shift from 5th to 6th to 7th, right? He's taking it more serious. And I want to give him credit for that. Public credit and acknowledgement. Especially as we talk about, he's like, he kind of laughs at me being a YouTuber. He was like, man, he's like, I at least can say I personally know a YouTuber. Because, kids are into that. They watch the TikTok and YouTube. And then he looks over at me and he's like, Mom, you're a YouTuber. Yeah. That's what I am. Okay, so areas of impact. So here's the reality. If you haven't seen it, it's coming to a neighborhood near you. Right now, based from this LA Times article posted in August, there are 4,000 RVs parked in the streets of Los Angeles. 4,000 RVs. Wow. 4,000 RVs. That's an incredible number in terms of what's going on out there. They also add that is a 40% increase. I'm going to drop that in the comments below. So RV living, right? RVs as of 2018 is 40% more. 40% increase. RVs since 2018. I want to drop that here. Thanks to those of you who are tuning in on our YouTube, catching us there at LA Super Agents. 40% increase of RVs since 2018. If you just tuned in, we're talking about Vanlords. Yeah, topic of discussion, Vanlords. So yeah, 40% increase since 2018. What was going on 2018? We were good, right? It was okay. It just hit me the other day that gas is officially at over $6. Officially. Some of you probably been paying that. I just haven't been paying attention, right? Because we had a hybrid. And so, like I said, it's just, but now I'm paying attention. $6 and change. Yeesh. I'm like, where is it? Hybrid, or give me a V4, right? Or 4 cylinders. I don't need to drive anywhere fast. I'm gonna get there. I'll make it. I'll make it. So that is a significant difference. See, we've been, listen, I've been on since the pandemic, and I literally came on for how many days? For those of you who followed the entrepreneur series that I launched, I did 16 entrepreneur series videos, and really it was just to keep community online during the pandemic. And I said it then, we have not seen the impact yet. We are still living in it. And so now we're seeing this overflow and this increase. But of course, with devastation comes opportunity. And with that opportunity is you have the birth of Vanlords. Vanlords are charging, listen to this, to the unhoused, don't have credit, don't have savings. You might have an eviction on your record. If you're facing an eviction, in fact, we do property management, and I don't know what's really happened in the last week. Let's see, we're in September. Moratoriums ended March, right? So April 1st. Yeah, so that's the timeline of court. You get to April to September. That means you've probably gone through the motion of court. You've probably gotten the unlawful detainer. You've got your notice to pay or quit. You have not made good on the payment plan that is made available. Essentially, you have until 2024 to make payments on the back rent owed. And so if you still can't see your head above water financially, then you're now faced to, you're juggling between pricey motels and hotels on a daily to weekly basis. If you have children, you're not, that's quite a shift, right? And this is the people now that I'm talking about. The second group, the new face, is what we're seeing of the unhoused. I mean, I'm noticing in the enrollment forms in school, right? There's additional forms about, are you unhoused? Do you live with someone else? Are you getting emergency, emergency housing? We've been seeing different efforts collectively, especially with LAUSD, Los Angeles Unified School District, is home to 80,000 students. And I believe they said it's almost upwards of 70% are LMI, low to median income, essentially within that poverty. That data was coming out during the pandemic that said a lot of the students rely on the district for food. So yeah, we've got to face it. We've got to confront this. We've got to confront this. And so with this devastation, with this crisis, comes opportunity. And so Vanlords are charging anywhere from $600 to $800 a month. And guess what? If they figured out that they can lease multiple RVs and then rent them out to those who see RV living as the only alternative, they've got a thriving business right now. They've got a thriving business. I want to drop this comment in here about how much Vanlords are charging. Vanlords are charging $600 to $800 per month. Like I said, this has gone to, gosh, this is so funny that I totally missed the end of government again. Sheesh, government. Just didn't want to come out. Okay. Hang with me. We're going to wrap this up and we're going to get to solutions shortly. So $600 to $800 a month opportunity. And guess what? They've just stumbled across a very lucrative business and very, very and much unregulated. It's not, it's such a rising trend. It's unregulated. City council is like, whoa. What? People are renting to live in RVs? Vanlords? Yeah, 6,500 people are living in RVs. It's an unregulated business. This is what the government's up against. It's an unregulated business. And the city council just voted, LA, that is, just voted 12-1 to revise or prepare an ordinance into in terms of the sale and leasing of RVs. They're going to try to see how they can control this as it relates to safety standards, right? Making sure RVs meet a certain standard or guideline, because now you've got people living here. I mean, I was noticing near Culver City, and I didn't realize this was happening with those who are setting up encampments near like the light poles, is they're tapping into the power there. Welcome to LA. I mean, you talk about a scene out of these movies we've seen back in the day, right? The one with Kurt Russell, I think Mel Gibson had one. There's just so many. And so the people are facing RV living because the alternative is just not an option. And we see encampments still a growing issue, despite that the city, right, the mayor has created the program to clean up the streets from the encampments. But where do they go? And then they're not staying, right? They're relocating them. They don't stay, and then the encampments pop back up. And so it just really, this is going to take a collective effort. This will take a collective effort, people. So let's talk about that. Solutions here. Solutions here would be what? Here's a thought. Let me get rid of this little talking person here. Sheesh. What are some solutions? I want you to think about that. If it were you, right? So which side are you on? You're the resident, you're the owner, you're down the street from the encampments, you're down the street from the RVs. It's very prevalent in your area, and you are probably feeling pretty frustrated. You're probably feeling frustrated because with that comes what? The biggest complaint right now is the sewage, the trash. That is the biggest complaint right now. Unsafe. We're seeing more, I guess, the crimes and the attacks on individuals. I do like this proposed idea. So let's talk about what we're hearing as solutions. So regulations. So regulating it, right? Putting ordinances that address health and safety. I want to add another point to this in terms of health and safety. I do like this idea about RVs and those encampments not being near the schools, not being near, of course, a place of sanctuary, those faith-based organizations or facilities. I do like the idea of, uh, definitely not within residences or the corners of residence. I've seen, encampments set up on the corners of those residential areas. I've seen the RVs parked in the residential areas as well. And so that leads me to the second solution or proposed solution is, and I'm speaking here from, it's here. It's not you're going to undo something and wipe it away, because then what do you do with the people that now have created this landlord and tenant relationship or occupancy? Where do they go if you decide to wipe this away as not a solution? It is currently providing housing for 6,500 people. Where do 6,500 people go in the LA Basin area? So there has been an active conversation about designated sale park, safe park areas or safe zones. They've been working. I was collectively part of the conversation with other brokers, real estate professionals, faith-based community organizers, in using the church spaces, the temple spaces, again, faith-based organizations, using their parking spaces as designated safe areas. This would be in contract conversation of payment, right, from the city to be able to lease out those spaces when not being used by those facilities or organizations. So identifying unused lots or parking that can be designated as safe parking zones. Oh my gosh. I'm just tickled because I put this PowerPoint together. I'm just looking at all these little typos, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm a real person. I'm a real person. I, I'm I was here for you, right? I was here to put this together. I got a full day today too, and I was like, no, I got to go on. I missed you guys, and I wanted to talk about this. All right, we're gonna wrap this up, and then this last, my thought, especially as we talk about housing and people paying money. How do we protect people who are also using their limited resources and not be scammed, not be targeted, not be taken advantage of? Because now the landlord and the tenant have now created a tenant relationship, as I mentioned, right? So possibly amend housing guidelines to include rights for this type of new landlord tenant relationship. Uh, those are my thoughts. What are yours? What do you think? Because I don't see this disappearing. It's a growing trend, like Airbnb was. We do see, just like with Airbnb, there was so much regulation that some cities and some states have completely squashed Airbnbs. And now you've got to be living right on the property in order to rent the space or the extra guest room, casita, ADU, and use it for Airbnb. And for most people, that's not possible if they've got multiple properties that they've been hacking, right? Can't live in all of them and use them as Airbnb. And that for me was the industry or government noticing or probably getting heat from the hotel and tourism industry. If people are using Airbnb, they're not using hotels. I know I've used a couple Airbnb before it got to what it is now. I've been hearing some horror stories, and I don't think it's just changed. Things have changed. Things are changing. If it's one thing that we know that'll be constant, is what? Change. So those are my thoughts in terms of solutions. So let's wrap this up. Of course, if you got any questions, if you found this of value, please make sure you share it. Let someone know. Give us some feedback. Listen, by the way, if you're listening to our radio podcast and you have been enjoying the content, please rate us so that we can get. I just noticed this was a thing. I noticed this was a thing. So please rate us. Rate the podcast. Give us some stars. Give us some stars. don't be shy. Go ahead and, throw 5 stars. Give us, give your girl some love. And what that does is it boosts our show, and we grow our family. I had a friend of mine, Evan. Evan reached out to me. He is of ERGJ Enterprises. He's also brought back the Black Billionaires Club. And let me bring him up here. ERGJ Enterprises right here. So I want, and shout out to those of you who are streaming in and connecting from ERGJ. I want to point out to Evan, what Evan called me, and it was one of those, like, I'm calling you because I love you. And he says, Lisa, what's going on? We need to help you grow this show. He said, because I just can't see why we don't have a bigger audience, which is true. And you know this, right? You've been consistently rocking with me for 5 years now. And we've got so much valuable information on real estate that most people are not talking about, not giving this perspective, and giving that I'm an active professional. So I've got to stay up to date with the trends and changes. And so you're getting really that up to date, right? Live in effect or action information. And so he said to me, what do we need to do and grow this? He says, and this is what hit me. Listen, I'm going to leave you with this. This is what hit me. Evan said to me, he said, you are doing your community a disservice by not growing. And so I want to invite you. I want to invite you to help me grow this platform. I've been doing it because it's been my joy, and growth was not the primary focus. It was more so to provide information, and I had been content, and this is me being honest, I had been content that I was providing information for a generation not yet born, or not yet awakened. But if you're awake, you know of me, you know of Ready, Set, Real Estate, you know what it's about. I invite you to help us grow. Just send a text to someone and just send the link. Hey, check this out. Go ahead and subscribe. Because that weighed heavy on me. He said, I'm doing my community a disservice by not growing. My brother, thank you. So I invite you to help me do this. All right. Okay. If you've got questions, got a situation, of course, real estate related, need a referral, or need some fixing of something, I'm very solution oriented. You can send an email, lisa@lasuperaagent.com. You can call or text. This is my direct cell number. That's 323-488-3265. Again, 323-488-3265. So if you've got questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat, send an email or send a text, and I'm here for you. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere. This is long game for me, which is why I had been content with what I was doing. But now he's charged me with a new mission, and growth is the mission, because I don't want to be doing this as a disservice to my community and people that I know that could really benefit from this information. Whether you're an industry colleague, right? I cross promote with industry colleagues. Whether you are first-time buyer, whether you are an inheritor, heir, or legacy person, someone with portfolio, someone who's actively investing. We've been touching all aspects for our listening audience. And it's been an absolutely honor and joy to do it. That's why when I don't do it, I missed 2 shows and I missed you. All right. That's my spiel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you next week, as long as, universe says so. I'll see you next week on another information-packed episode, and appreciate you. All right. Have a fantastic and productive day. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ready, Set, Real Estate Podcast with Lisa Gillett, the LA Super Agent. Please like, subscribe, and share LA